So what is the real difference between a tiny system hiccup and a complete catastrophic meltdown? Well, it almost always comes down to the hidden cracks in your disaster recovery plan. Today, we're going to take a massive failure and turn it into a masterclass. We'll dissect what went wrong so you can learn how to build truly bulletproof systems on AWS. Okay, picture this. It is 3 a.m. The alerts are screaming. For the engineers at our fictional company, AppCorp, this is it. This is the big one. Every single dashboard is lit up red, the support channels are imploding, and you can practically hear the money flying out the window with every second that ticks by. This is the exact moment their DR plan was made for. Or at least that's what they thought. If you want to understand how to build a fortress, you first have to understand why they crumble. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to dive right into the AppCorp's postmortem, peel back all the layers of this outage, and uncover the super common yet totally critical mistakes that brought their entire world crashing down. And here's the thing. On paper, AppCorp looked like they had it all figured out. Backups? Yep. Running in the cloud? Check. A team of really smart engineers? Absolutely. They had ticked all the right boxes, and they felt pretty good about it. But that feeling of security, it was basically an illusion. One built on a pile of assumptions that had never, ever been tested in the real world. So where did the investigation even begin? Well, it started with the most fundamental piece of any recovery strategy. And right away, the team ran headfirst into their first and maybe their biggest mistake, the untested backup. An untested backup, it's not just a technical problem, it's a cultural one. It's this really dangerous belief that just having a backup is exactly the same as being able to restore from it. And let me tell you, that assumption gives you a warm, fuzzy feeling of security that is completely false. And for AppCorp, that risk became a brutal reality. The moment they actually tried to restore, their scripts just failed. The data they were so sure was safe turned out to be corrupted. The whole team was just panicking, trying to debug this super complex process while the entire company was on fire. The fix? It's not about having more backups. It's about having drills, regular automated game days where you actually practice the recovery, you make sure your data is good, and you know your documentation is crystal clear, long before a real disaster ever hits. Man, that feeling of being completely betrayed by your own safety net, that's something you never want to experience. Like one of their engineers said, their backups were just a broken promise. And that was only their first hard lesson of the night. But the problems didn't just stop with the backups. Oh no. As the team kept digging, they found a much deeper, more dangerous flaw in their architecture. This outage wasn't just one failure, it was a chain reaction. The domino effect. It happens when your system is secretly fragile. You think you got all these independent, robust services, but what you really have is everything leaning on one single critical piece. And when that one piece wobbles and falls, it takes everything else down with it. And right here, we see AppCorp's fatal flaw. Their main database was running in a single availability zone. Just one. So when that one AZ had an issue, poof, the database went offline, and every single application that relied on it just died instantly. The remediation for this is, frankly, AWS 101. Use multi-AZ deployments for your critical services. This builds in redundancy, so if one AZ goes down, your system just automatically fails over to a healthy one. And if you want to be a real pro, you design for multi-region failover. You can just see the cascade right here. Step 1. A small, localized AZ failure. This should have been a minor blip, but because of their design, it led directly to Step 2. The database goes completely offline, which, of course, triggered Step 3. All the apps crash. And the end result? Step 4. A total site-wide outage. This was a completely preventable disaster. I mean, what a blunt but painfully perfect assessment from their lead architect. It's a powerful gut punch reminder that in distributed systems, redundancy isn't some luxury feature. It is the absolute foundation of stability. So just to recap, AppCorp's backups are useless and their whole architecture has collapsed. The team's only move now is to try and rebuild the entire environment from scratch. And this is where they slammed into their third and final wall, the unwritten rulebook. See, when your infrastructure isn't defined in code, its actual, true state only exists in the collective memory of your engineers. It's a mishmash of manual changes made over months, maybe years. In the middle of a full-blown crisis, that kind of tribal knowledge is basically useless. AppCorp lived this nightmare in real time. You had engineers literally arguing over server settings and firewall rules. Every single attempt to rebuild the environment created a slightly different and still very broken system. This mess has a name: configuration drift. The solution is infrastructure as code. When you define your environment using tools like CloudFormation or Terraform, and you store it all in Git, you have one single source of truth, a perfect blueprint to rebuild your entire system perfectly every single time. Look, AppCorp learned these lessons through a very painful, very public failure. But you don't have to. We can take all their hard-won knowledge and turn it directly into your own playbook for building real, testable, actual resilience. So what should you do tomorrow? Here's your starting list. Number 1, schedule a restore test. Don't just talk about it, get it on the calendar for this quarter. Next, look at your architecture and find that one thing that everything else depends on. That's your first single point of failure to fix. Then, start small with infrastructure as code. Just pick one simple service and codify it. And finally, automate just one manual step in your recovery plan. Small wins build massive momentum. So I'm going to leave you with this one simple question. Be honest with yourself and your team about it. The answer could literally be the difference between a minor incident and your very own 3 a.m. site-wide outage alert. Thanks for watching.